Here we go, guys. This is Necropolis Grail Death Division game for the first round of the tournament. It's between Piezod in the red and Fly Like Django in the blue. Django playing as the Aztecs here and Piezod as the Japanese. So both solid sips for this map, considering that this graveyards, as always, the starting map has fishing ponds possibilities. So with Japanese you could exploit that. If you want water control, your fishing ships are going to be very hard to take out because Japanese fishing ships have more HP. So also their mills are cheaper, so you could get your early eco going pretty easily. Then there's Django playing as the Aztecs, always a solid sip on, especially on land maps, but considering all of these relics, look at even lucky guy here with 5 relics in the south of the map here, pretty close to his base. Should be easy for the Aztec player to secure some relics here, and he is will be gaining extra gold being Aztecs from collecting the relics. So it might be worth mentioning that this tournament is played on fast speed. I mean, the general theme of the tournament is Necropolis, so it's like tombstones, graveyard theme, ruins like this. And to make it a little bit extra unsettling, this is random map but played on fast speed. So you can expect to see some, even though this is Death Division from 1400 to 1800 ELO, you could expect to see more small mistakes than you usually see on a regular random map. This is, however, playback on normal speed because I don't really think there's a fast speed playback function at the moment. So should be a bit easier to catch the action as we go. Looks like Django is off to a little bit of a tough start here. I think he only found 4 of his sheep. He's going for the boar obviously, but these sheep are out of his line of sight. So kind of bad news for him. He's missing those sheep, he's missing this sheep. But he sees the dock, so he may be forced to make he sees the pond, so he may be forced to do an early dock here if he can't find his last few sheep. There should be a hunt somewhere here as well, but yeah, he's going for the bears, so he'll be fine. But looking at some potential idle time here. I'm trying to scout this second war. I think Django has some really unlucky scouting here. He finds the sheep, he finds the deer as well. They might be a bit far away to push, I guess. And these sheep are simply not found just yet. But this Contiveris seems to have made it without any significant idle time here. Maybe lagging slightly bad with adding farms already. However, the Japanese player already going for the dock here, also struggling finding the sheep actually. So sometimes these sheep spawn a bit far away, so it can be more difficult to find, and especially since you're at fast speed and maybe a bit stressed out about the boar lure and everything else, you're can be more difficult to pay attention to the scouting as well. But here is the dock from the Japanese player. He is has found a dock spot near 2 shortfish, so we'll also be bringing in some shortfish nice and effectively here. Gaining a little bit of a villager lead here. That's of course the fishing ship counting as a villager in this sense. And the red player has now found his enemy. Will Django garrison? He will. But he barely weakens the scouts here. Looks like Django is on the way to finding his enemy as well. Red now bringing the second boar here, and Django likely already has his eating his second boar here if he has found both, that is. But Django now finding his enemy as well. Sees some red houses. I think he spotted a dock as well here. Yeah, of course he did. It was close to the sea. So now he has the info he needs. So Japanese here, I would expect an infantry style opening. The extra wood here could be for the fishing ships. So it's already kind of too late for a rush for the Japanese player, but we could still be seeing men-at-arms, I guess, if he chooses to go for it, or it could be simply some kind of fast castle approach here. Now docking, making another dock, so he really wants to get his food eco boosted here, while Django Scout is just chilling out here. Could have actually tried and sniped the docking build if it had known what was going on over here. Takes some damage from the TC, but survives this nicely. The Eagle Scout can also be healed up inside your own TC since it's an infantry unit. And Red now, on the other hand, here is also scouting his enemy to see what's going on. Looking at the villager count, this is the fish boom speaking for Red here. Red, obviously, a lot closer to the ponds than his opponent here. That is certainly playing into his favor here. But Blue could have the option. I guess he has scouted at least one of the other ponds as well. So might be seeing some water fighting here. But Red now up to the next stage. He is already at 34 pop. As said, again, lots of fishing in the making here. And Django is... Red now researching field edge. So Red is taking the slow approach here, getting the fish gun going, and is going forward with some villagers here. But I believe Django scouted this. No, he's not going forward. He's walling off very heavily with the villagers here. There's still a huge section to wall here, so I don't quite see the rusher. Maybe he was expecting the men-at-arms from Blue to come. You can always expect men-at-arms or rush from Aztecs. And I like the placement of this mining camp here, because now he's walled off here. If he places a house or a few palisades here and a palisade here, then he's fully quick wall on this side, and he's safe from men-at-arms. Tries to save his weak villager here, but it doesn't look too great. She goes down. Not a huge loss for Red at this point though, with the 36 villager count here, as Django gets pop-capped. But look at Red's food count here, spiking up very significantly here. Look at the food count difference between the two players here. It's a 10 villager count effectively, but 25 villagers for Red, 26 for Blue, but Blue is, for now, is not fishing. And see in the quick odds here, securing this gold very nicely in this little gap here. They won't be subject to men-at-arms coming forward here. Red now adding a barracks. It might be going straight for the archers here. It could be a fast castle crossbows maybe. It's adding, yeah, blacksmith barracks. Always a bit risky going archers against the Mesosivo, of course, because I do have access to eagles that are a fantastic counter to archers, but Japanese have strong archers, so it's certainly a valid option, nevertheless. So Blue takes the opportunity of using his men-at-arms to scout, trying to find a way to do damage here. It's going to be tough, because Red has walled towards his TC here. Here comes the archer range. With any luck, Red is going to be having archers out before Blue can do any significant damage with the men-at-arms, but he did get one villager kill over here, so it will not a complete waste for Blue. And he is very careful not to run into TC fire as well. He might be forcing some repairs or quick walls here. Now wants to destroy this house and get to the woodline and berries here. All things considered, pretty nicely nice base for Red here, with the berries close to the woodland here and a wall off. Very intelligently done here. He's not rushing things. He might be going to repair this house at some point, but he's repairing. I could barely see that villager actually. So the men-at-arms won't be going in, and archers not in production yet. Certainly has the eco for it. He's actually adding a galley. Wants to defend the pond if Blue should come forward with any action. Galleys could also snipe land units to some extent, but I don't think they will be reaching anything in its own base except from maybe on this woodline here. So Red playing this securely, repairing the palisade here, leaves him with 3 gold miners. So for consistent archer production, that's actually maybe a bit too few, and he's going to the gold in the back here at this point, because now he has archers and skirms out, he can easily deal with the arms that are left here. And blue, now with 1 archer range, may be aiming for the Castle Age after a little while here. But it's going to be red reaching the Castle Age first, with a 30% head start here. Now archers and skirms cleaning up. Of course, easy for red to add skirms in this sense, since he has so many fishing ships working for him doing the eco, boosting the food eco here. So on the galley, yes, it provides some line of sight as well on land here. So not, but he isn't threatened on water for now. So could have been maybe a slight waste here, but look at red also docking this pond now for the deep fish, and considering the wood count, we'll be adding some fish traps as well. TC is going up between 2 woodlands on the gold here, nice position. There's still 1 Minotaur alive here, wouldn't need to be dealt with, but that's only 1, so that should be okay. Crossbow, Bodkin kicking in for both players here. What's the army situation like? Blue has 7 army. It's producing from 2 ranges at home now, as red is going forward and wants to snipe some reinforcements here, I believe. Red also docking the 3rd pond here now, so his food count is really going to spike up to the heavens. That's also going to make the Imperial Age click a lot easier, collecting lots of food on the water, since you don't really need to invest into a lot of farms on land. He actually hasn't made a single farm yet, which is pretty crazy. But kind of wasting his forward army a little bit here. I guess red tried to back off, but realizes that this is lost. Tries to make the best of it using the skirms to snipe or weaken a few archers of blue here, but red still has the military lead. He is of course producing army at home and should be ready for any forward that blue sends towards his base. So look at the villager counter, 56 villagers for red. That is in fact 21 fishing ships working for him at this point, I think. Because he has... No, he has quite a few villagers as well. He has 39 villagers working for him. 2 TCs. Now red adding a monastery. He wants to contest the relics, obviously. He's playing against Aztecs here. Now needs to pay a bit of attention. Blue is running into a TC of red here. If red garrisons now, he could cancel out this army. So a bit of an unlucky forward there for blue. Didn't know about the TC. Loses 4 crossbows to nothing here, unfortunately. Red with quite a few islands now. Had to deal with some forward here. Don't know what these guys are up to. Maybe he's planning to seed some farms or something. Or placing another mining camp. Actually 2 of them. Japanese mining camps, guys. They only cost 50 wood for the production buildings here. For the mining camps and lumber camps and mills. They cost only... Their half price cost only 50 wood. So sneaky siege workshop being added by Django here, but look at red already going for the Imperial Age. Very early Imperial from red here, considering, but of course he has had a food count for it. He's gone more offensively on gold. He has 28 on gold total by now. So with the food eco and water, he's really bringing in a lot here and could... Getting up to it this early could be a game changer. Let's have a look at Blue's eco. He's very far off from picking up, as you can see. He's investing into armies, going for the forward siege. But red now might run into Blue's army here. I think he will... Yeah, he sees it immediately, backs off. Nice little split there, but he still needs to back off and get more numbers up. Even with red going to imp, their military counts are roughly even here, and red with a few more kills. But look at the fish trap. See this food eco for the red player is just out of this world compared to blue. Blue trying a siege push now, of course not knowing that red is already approaching Imperial Age. Blue trying a siege push now, so pushing with the Mangonel launches here, but it's only gonna be a matter of moments now before red can get both Bracer and Arbalest in. So villager count pretty significantly higher for red here, but again that's the fishing ships working for him as well. He has 55 builds, so actually the villager counts are identical, but red with the tech lead, the eco lead, and now breaking in at multiple spots here. Look at also adding forward reach. This is looking tough for blue to defend from. His eco, he probably will be forced to stay in Castle Age here to try to muster the army numbers. You know that Piezod guy, okay? Cool. Yeah, he seems very solid, making use of the whole map here, playing Japanese on this map, which is Spain's next hope. Cool. Yeah, he seems quite dominant in this matchup, I have to say. So blue adding a market, forced to adjust some eco. Maybe he's trying to reach for imp after all. But this is looking grim for blue. He's losing a lot here. Red of course has our Leicesters. How do you fight that? He has the numbers, but he does not have the range. He is outranged. And red with forward siege as well. If he gets a Mangonel hit in there, this could be tough for blue. I have to commend blue for picking off these Arbalesters here with his crossbow stop. Nice chasing there. We're using his numbers advantage here. And also adding a defensive tower. I think he will need to opt for guard tower defense if that's going to make any significant usefulness here, but it's something, but at the cost of idle time as farmers. And look at all these 3 red pawns here. He already beats Monemon and Poxo. Okay, yeah, so it's definitely a solid player then. So blue cleans up the small archer groups of red here, but look at red's military. Still adding more. He's sticking with the Arbalesters here. He's reinforcing from home now with 4 ranges producing. Let's have a look at this eco again. It looks very solid. He could even be set up for Knight or Cavalier here. I think he'll reach 2k soon. Wow, yeah. Well, he certainly plays very solid here. So making a huge challenge for Django, his opponent here. Score looks very kind of demotivating for Django at this point as well. He is on 2 TCs and producing as a... All things considered, is actually only 7 villagers behind, but then there's the ward one. Son of Walker, if you write exclamation mark rank, hold on, let's see. Let's see if we can find him. So that's the elo in the parenthesis there. Has anyone won Graveyard without fishing yet? At least not in the Death Division. Lail the Bard, from what I've seen and casted. I haven't casted a lot yet, but it's obvious that the 3 or pools of the pools with fish make a huge difference. If you look at it at Red's food eco, maybe it shows in the stats actually. Yeah, it's not that significant difference. But then there's Aztec Eco playing in here as well, has to be said. So strong pick and play by Piezod here. He is chose Japanese for this map, and if you have a look at all 3 ponds here, he has 4 docks total and quite a few fish. He's at 61 villager but 81 total here, so it means he has 20 fishing ships. What games are we casting today? I'm sort of have haven't quite decided. I'm switching a bit between the Def and Adept division, so it will be a mix. But generally speaking, I'm going for. Let me have a look. I'll bring up the other. So after this one, I'm casting Accepted versus Zeus. That's the Adept division. And then I will do AR12, Papa Frito, and we'll see how far I can go in the end. I'm doing 3-4 sets at least today, I believe. Anyway, that's yeah, sure, man. I'm trying to get through as many games as I can. 7-day Walker. So that's I hope I will get around to yours as well. So guys, let's move on to game 2 of this set. We're going to Django's home map, since he lost the previous set, and the map is Tudoberg. Piezod seems the strongest from what it seems so far. Yeah, you might be right. Okay, I think Piezod didn't know that Tudoberg, this map. Could be good for participants to know as well that this map starts without a scout. That's intentional. So you have to scout with sheep from the very beginning. So and even at fast speed, that could make things uncomfortable. The idea, the reasoning behind starting without a scout for this map is to have it even more unsettling and to fit in with the Necropolis team. That's an original touch to this map and this setup. So you see people using villagers to scout here and using the sheep, obviously, and blue gets so lucky, or Django gets really lucky here, finding both dwarves right away. And that can be a game changer right there. He is off to a beautiful start with Britons here, finding his dwarves. But Piezod finds the war as well, and he actually placed the barracks right away. A nice move there to have militia to help with the scouting. That's something to think about. So we have Piezod playing in the red as Lithuanians here for this one, and Django in the blue playing as Britons. There are a few small ponds here as well, but as you can see there aren't any deep fish. You could still dock and do fish traps if you feel like it though. And looking at the Piezod's score rising here, that is military and scouting giving the score lead here mainly. Django actually has the villager lead because he was found his food earlier and did not make militia like Piezod did, and those obviously cost food and gold. So that sets Piezod's gold back a little bit. He did take Loom as well, since he was early Loom, probably since he was idled a little bit from the militia production. And here we see Piezod laming a few sheep here now. That's there is no rule against laming in this tournament. You could do anything. You could even kill the deer here if he feels like it. But for the moment, he's mainly looking for his enemy. So he wants to get some early scouting in there. Being Lithuanians, he can certainly, if he can boost his Fushiko and get going and get the scout rush out, that could be really powerful here, since this map could get you off to a slow start. But Django has found quite a few sheep. Being Britons, he collects the food faster, and he's also bringing in the second war now. But now Piezod's militia are about to find Django, I believe. And then they may be able to cause some damage here. Now he runs into TC fire, unfortunately. Both militia go down. No. Causes some idle TC there. Nice. That's idle time for Django. But Piezod still one builder behind, but has, in the exchange, has a lot more scouting intel, since he already knows where his opponent is. And that's going to be valuable if he wants to go for the early scout rush with Lithuanians here. There are relics on this map as well. Looks like there are 5 total, so that's something that Lithuanian, of course, will use to his advantage. But looking at the stats here, Django only tech bloom, so he's a little bit more gold. He is producing consistently. He still has the 1 villager lead. Going for the second lumber cap now. And yeah, I don't know if he's going straight archers or if he wants to do some militia line shenanigans here. But since scouting is limited, I'm pretty sure he might be going just for the straight archers here. I like the walling as well here. He's walling kind of behind the singular stragglers here. This map has small trees all over. That's also a bit of a pain when playing this map for the pathing, because you're pathing to the trees, and if you're using say cavalry, for example, you will see some weird pathfinding during the games. So I hope Django realizes that this is most likely open. There's the shore next to. I might be wrong, but I think it is. So this could be unfortunate if scouts come running in and you think you're full wall. But Django is off to a nice start here. He probably picked this map for a reason, since he knows that you start without the scout, and since he could. That makes early pressure, like last game, a bit harder to do in general. So, but judging from the pop here, this will be a sort of a straight archers, maybe even straight fast castle build for like Django here. Seems risky against Lithuanians, but he saw the militia, so he knows that his opponent has invested in militia. Also, Piezod there unfortunately hasn't found his 2 last sheep, but he's in exchange is hunting the deer and adding farms, so he should be okay. Django likely to click up very soon. He has the food count for it already, with heaps of farms here, and now he seems to be going to gold as well. So unless there's a hole here, maybe it's not, but then Django is full walled. And he will definitely be first to the feud late here. Even with Lithuanians started with the extra food, that's an advantage being Lithuanians here. You could actually put down the barracks right away, and you can afford a few militia right away. Of course, it sets your wood count a little bit back. You're forced to get some stragglers to get lumber camps and mills up, but the scouting intel that the militia can provide is certainly valuable. So Piezod walling off as well. He doing a broader approach to the walling here. So there should still be the opportunity for Django to sneak around on this side here. But Django with a small head start to the fuel age. They're both going up at 28 pop actually. So could be straight fast castle for Piezod here as well, and going most likely for the Knight's line, since he is a cavalry civ, but it remains to be seen. Of course, late Tradens could go crossbows as well. So Blacksmith Rage being dropped for Britons, no surprise there. What's the resource discount? Yeah, you can go straight up here with this. It's going to be a 30 pop straight fast castle into crossbows here for our blue player Django. And Piezod opting for the market. He's going for the range as well. Okay, so he wants to make skirms. He could of course go offensive himself as well, so he can go for a double range. Might be playing on the defensive side here. Remains to be seen, of course. But he is also up to the next stage, 24% behind. Both players with double ranges out here, and Piezod 4 gold. He is open on the sides, but that's of course a long way around for his opponent. Oh, actually 2 more sheep missing for Piezod, so real bad and tough start for him food-wise. Fortunately with Lithuanian food eco compensating for that for him. Yeah, he's going straight for the skirms here, as you can see. So he will be stacking up on some skirms, being elite skirms, as soon as he gets to cast stage, I presume, and then he will be ready for what you would always expect from Britons, of course, the archers. So cast stage kicking in for Britons any moment now, is adding archers. Should be able to get the crossbow upgrade straight away, yeah. However, missing a little bit of gold for Bodkin as well. Prioritizing now the wood upgrade. So going forward with the 7 archers now, they won't be reaching his opponent's side before he reaches castle age as well. So more skirms in the mix. Looking at builder count, there are more skirms for Piezod here than there are crossbows on the field for Django. And Django might actually not know where his opponent is. He could suspect that he is in this area, but yeah, he seems very determined on going towards his opponent. So it could be that there are fixed spawns on this map actually, that you could always expect your opponent on the other side. So crossbows going forward, still doesn't know where he's going, but he must be suspecting his opponent is here now. Finds the market.
Mandatum.
And he must be seeing the woodland as well any moment now. There we go. Picks off one villager. But skirms, elite skirms are out already, and Django will be forced to pull back here. Yeah, these crossbows are in bad shape. But Django making use of the hill, making use of the extra range that Britons get in castle age. He has +3. And the elite skirms, yeah, he outranges them by far for now. Loses, of course, his initial volley here, but he did pick off one villager and idle this woodline. But Piezod just moves further on to the back and TCs one woodline back here. Seems like Django is also on the 2 TCs for now. Using the gold here, now has 12 on gold and 18 on wood to sustain constant archer production easily here. Should be. He seems to have ceased production for a little while there actually now, as adding knights. That makes sense. He added a stable of knights. He wants to have something against the skirms that are now going forward. Meanwhile, Piezod in his home base has walled off. The whole section is only his right hand side that is still open at this point. So that is now more crossbows, of course, being added by Django. Look at their scores, virtually the same here. And villager count's pretty similar here. Villager count's also the same, but of course purely counters from Piezod's side here is only now taking fletching, so it's lagging behind on the upgrades here. Still got good value, defensive value from these elite skirms because of course he knew what was coming. So Django is now adding his third TC on the stones and wood here. And Piezod seems to be looking for an opening or just scouting, gathering some intel while he can with these elite skirms here. Looking maybe to break in. I think, yeah, he can actually range the builders here, so he could delay this TC from going up for a bit. For some reason, Django deletes the palisade here and lets Piezod in, and he now has 3 knights chasing the skirms. Let's see how much he can actually get from this. The knights have no upgrades, and in this choke points behind the trees here, the skirms could actually still get some good damage in on the knights here. So we'll at least pick off 1 knight, but also nice movement from Django here, moving the knights around so they are tougher to hit for the skirms. But found a choke point here, but sending in another knight. We might see Django cleaning up most, if not all, of the skirms here. Look at Piezod's army count going down here. Still arguably decent value from Piezod here, sending his skirms forward and picking off what I think was 2 knights in the end. So not too bad of a fight there, but now leaves Django with 19 military and Piezod with 2. No stable added for Piezod just yet, but he is collecting the relics. He has 1 for now. He has set new gathering points for its monk. He will be going for the Lithuanian Knights play here, which of course should easily beat Django's few knights coming forward. No, Django taking ballistics now though, and with a mass of 16 crossbowmen against virtually no military here, this could be dangerous for Piezod. So instead of just keeping the knights idle and defending at home, Django goes forward, takes the opportunity to scout a little bit, wants to have the knights. He is probably going to collect them all in the front here, and then with 5 knights he should easily be able to fend off skirms from his opponent. What I'm kind of missing from Django in this game is paying a little bit of attention to the relics, because you know that the Lithuanian will be going for them. But now the crossbows are here, this monk is going nowhere. Another range added for Piezod here. He sticks with skirm defense like he has to. He's adding university now, so he could be looking to... well, you need 2 buildings to click up to the next stage as well, but he's likely looking for getting ballistics himself for the skirms, I guess. So Django running in here, he will tank some arrows from the TCs here, taking some damage along the way, but if he can get to this hill here with his superior British... Nice wall off from Piezod here. Kong, it's played on fast speed. It's played on fast speed, as you can say, but playback for some reason doesn't allow for fast speed. If I do the fast forward here, it's too quick, you know. So so they are definitely playing on fast speed, but playback for some reason He's in normal speed. So Piezod still defending nicely here, but Django just keeps replenishing his numbers from home. And still gets some nice damage in there. Piezod now on a 4 TC boom here, adding lots of farms. He's setting up the eco for knights and even lighties here, presumably. Or maybe even only castle defense, but kind of losing a lot of army here still to TC fire, so the four town centers providing nice cover for Piezod's eco for now, even though being idled a little bit here, 14 idles for now, and Django with a massive eco lead actually, even with 3 TCs working from him from what I can see. But again, I would love to see Django challenging the relics being picked up here by Piezod, because that's only going to make Piezod's army stronger. And huge mass of skirms here now, ready to pick off whatever comes up. But it's going to be Django reaching the Imperial Age first. Piezod is on the 4 TC boom. He's through the eco. He's invested a lot into skirms as well, so that obviously delays his going to the next age here. He's now sending villagers to this stone maybe, or is he going for some forwards here? No, he's not. He must be only expanding his eco here. Could be looking for a TC spot, yeah. Wants to TC this gold, so that's Piezod's 5th TC. And but TC is providing defensive here more as production, as we can see, because he's been making lots of military, and is behind, even with now adding the 5th TC, he's 10 villagers behind Django. Their army count's pretty similar though, and Django only with the superior range and a few knights to challenge this mass of skirms here. So now the 3rd range being added for Django here. Really wants to get those army numbers up. This map is Tutorberg, Kong. It's yeah, map with trees all over and some ruins and stuff. And you start without the scout for this one. That's useful to know for participants and players, that you have to scout with sheep to begin with. Or as Piezod did here, he dropped the barracks right away into village and made 2 militia for scouting purposes. So nice defensive castle here from Piezod. Could be used to make lighties as well. And he should be clicking imp soon as well. First map is always graveyards, that's correct. So this is 7 knights on the field for Django now. That should be enough to challenge this massive skirms. He seems to be getting a surround here. He has also gotten the +2 armor now, but this castle will go up, and if Django's not careful, he will take a lot of arrow fire from this castle now. So I think Django needs to back off here. Nice move of Piezod to garrison his skirmishers there to save most of them, take as little damage as possible. Trying a little sneak forward here from Piezod as well, but Django's knights run in, no murder rolls here. And the Arbalisters, they spot the sneak, so there won't be any sneak stables on the side here. Nice awareness from Django here, realizing this. And I don't think he will be able to take out this castle, but let's see. The sneak forward to the side here is stopped for now, and Django getting all the imp techs here, chemistry for extra range, even 2-man solo for even more smooth wood collecting, and adding more rams from home as well. The rams are taking a long way around here though. I would love to see some forward siege added to make it a bit easier. Light is being added, that's great against the knights here. Of course they're strong against most stuff, but they're very weak to archer fire, so I don't know if light is the correct play here, since they will die very easily to Arbalisters here, lacking the pierce armor that the knight's line has. Light is of course can ignore armor of opponents, but yeah, could be that he's going straight for the knight here, I think. So Imperial Age on the way for Piezod as well. This knight should be a gunner once the lightest get in here. Look at these guys just stabbing away and finishing that knight easily. And the lightest can, of course, handle the rams as well. But note that only 4 arbalesters here still deal a lot of damage to this lightest. So you will need some kind of other unit as well. But Imperial Age kicks in. Might be seeing a Trebor here. Piezod maybe can't see the castle, but seeing the Treb, of course. Now bringing his skirms back to deal with some arbalesters, but it's even being below in military numbers for Django here, he might be able to take this castle out. Piezod is repairing, of course, but the light is won't be able to take out this ram in time, and once another Treb is added, could even opt for Warwolf with Britons here to deal splash damage with traps, but I think there's some panic repairs here for Piezod, but if he loses his castle, he loses a lot of resources here in the process as well, and these villagers will all possibly go down to Arbalest fire here. But the skirms are brought in, they are aiming for the ram though, and not the arbalesters here. Django will lose quite a few arbalesters here, but look at the light cab coming in now to deal with the skirms. And massive repairs here, that's 22 villagers committed to repairing. And Django with the villager lead, this is just boosting his eco, what I think as okay, he's spending a lot now, but I think Django is still in a better position since his base is virtually untouched and he is doing a relentless forward here. Mixing in just the right units to deal with everything here. The arbalesters can deal with lightest. Once these lightest come in, they should go down to... Okay, maybe not in these numbers. Lightest could take a decent fight here, but they aim for the rams here. And now Django wants to drop a forward castle on Piezod's DC here, sending rams forward as well. Rams tanking or taking the fire from the lightest here, but then the arbalesters firing at the lightest and provides very good value from Django here, taking out golden food units like this. So look at the units just flooding in their light cav, as said, to deal with the elite skirms here. Trebs now moving forward will be sniping this TC easily, and I don't think there's any way for Piezod to deny this castle as of now, even though with the equal numbers it's mainly skirms left for Piezod here. One light is here, and the Trebs even spread out here to that could now even range the production. This is very unprotected though, this could be easily sniped by Piezod. And uses skirms here to delay the villagers from building this castle, but I believe it will going up, and this will secure even more resources for Django here. And desperate moves from Piezod here now, sending villagers to deal with this undefended trap on this side, but that's usually a sign that you're not in a very great spot overall. Loses one TC here on golden stones. Note that most of Piezod's stones were also forward here, so he hasn't really had the means to make more than maybe one, maybe two castles. He's adding stables, he's not giving in just yet. He has 4 relics, so he has the full bonus advantage of the Knight's line, but look at his food count, it's struggling here now as he has to make skirms and maybe some knights as well. I think he even forgot about this forward here with this sneak forward, and Django slowly just pushing his opponent back here, utilizing the now 5+5 range for Britons. He could easily outrange the 5+3 skirms here, so he could even use arbalesters to snipe skirms. Is Hoye in the chat? I don't know, I haven't seen him around, man. So fly like Django, continuing this forward here. He still has 3 traps to push further forward now, and his next target will soon be the monastery, I'm sure. so to negate this Night Slime bonus that his opponent gets. And Piezod is fleeing with some of his economy from this TC to try and secure some wood on this side instead. So he is forced to migrate to stay away. The Arbalesters here could back off a little bit more to not be within range of the skirmishers here actually. But Lightcap is coming in to deal with this, and Django still pushes out with even more. A new volley of Arbalesters coming in here, that's almost 30 in numbers here. And the skirms are firing at Lightcap, but they are tanky stuff here. But Cavaliers are helping out. Django really needs to take out this monstrosity for Piezod not to have this relic advantage. He has 12 plus 5, that's no joke. But judging from the push here, it looks like this should be Django's game. He's taking out another TC, leaving Piezod with only 3 TCs now, and Piezod with 100 villagers, Django with 122, and he's closing in on Pop Capped here. And also mining stone, we could be seeing another forward castle soon here. But the scores look pretty similar still. Could be eco difference speaking here. Piezod is floating lots of wood and gold here, but can't really seem to spend it. And I don't think he has well, he has a market, so he could abuse the market here if really needed, but he's being pushed back, and I think we will be seeing the GG called in not too long here. Seem to be having frame drops issues again, sorry about that. You need to expand his eco mates on siege. True. I like Red's combo better than Blue. Yeah, you could say that, of course, but it seems to be working still. But this all, I would say, comes down to the start of the game as well, because starting without the scout, Red, he did make a militia early on for scouting purposes. He found his enemy, but Blue got lucky and found his spores and got a really nice eco boost from the very beginning and taking the villager lead. So Blue has been dictating the pace of this game most of the while here. But Red is definitely not giving up here. He's still able to mass skirms, now has quite a few Cavalier. And still a monster up with 4 relics. He could consider securing it even further back here, just to make sure he doesn't lose his +4 attack from the relics. But we see Red expanding as well. He gets a few raids in here. He's killing off quite a few villagers here from Django. It's not evening out just yet, and here's the siege added as well, just like you said, Tiger. Tiger, did you catch, or Special Unit 92, did you catch any of the first game between these two? Piezod had a really strong performance there, so this is Django's home map. Blue needs to raid more with Lightcap. Yeah, it's true, it's very exposed eco, except from the castle there. You could raid this wood line easily with Lightcap, for example. We're a little score lead now, so anything could happen here. Even more cab coming in for raid. This is very, very vulnerable to raids here. Look at this. Just passing. Yeah, could have gotten much greater value here. I think you could have sniped all these villagers, taking blue of gold here as well. But still decent raids here, obviously. But he needs to deal with the forward as well. Look at blue now raiding with light cab finally here. And still has one treble ag. His overlisters are in jail. So, nice job of Red holding on here. He's adding more farms. He really needs this good eco to sustain the army composition he's going for with skirms and knights lying here. But his eco looks healthy. He could add farms forever with this eco, and he's expanded to the side. So, I think blue isn't even aware of the side here. One treb goes down to light cab here, but still raiding with Avrastus here. It's 99 villagers from red now, he's losing. Imagine some raiding on this side as well now. You could split up his Avralisters now, just send a few over here and then make a lot of damage. So, and here light cab in for red is still adding a few from here. It's vital for Django now to scout the sides to see that red has moved his eco. And now the monastery will go down. This is huge actually for red, because now he won't have the +4 advantage for his cavalry line anymore. He is, well, he has the means to produce knights still, or cavalier rather. But now losing the relics, he will also have a hard time picking them back up and securing them again. This could be the game changer here. Or the GG moment. Now even losing TCs to Arbalest Fire here, because he didn't really have any villagers to garrison inside. And village counts still down here now. Still doing some small raids here, but there are Arbalests at home able to take care of this. So red now left with only one safe goal and one goal down here that he's not taking at the moment. And just losing more and more villagers. And this is closing in on the GG moment here. I believe it's almost 100 military for the Britain's player here. He is pop capped and just does not want to give up this game. This is blue's game. This is my game. Get out of my game. He's thinking right now. 53, 54 villagers. Well, still adding villagers from red here and giving in. But look at all these blue dots on the map here. Just take out the last castle and should be GG. Tribe's now taking out some Sables production, but note that it's now only +4, so he's actually rebuilding a monastery at the same site he lost his relics. I like that, but fighting 80 military with 16, it's not a way back here for red. I admire his conviction to keep going. Maybe he wants to exhaust his opponent before the inevitable game 3 here, but this is blue's game to win, guys. If this doesn't go to 1-1 now, I will be very surprised. You can see from the production here that blue is consistently making light cab and arbalesters here. Red barely even making skirms. Is now down to 41 villagers. And we're of 10 that are idle, so yeah, nice splitting up the arbalesters from blue here, raiding on this side as well. And now that blue finally will find the last place that red has expanded to. Now taking out the production. Could add some ramps or something here as well to more easily deal with the production buildings here. Is it Kong playing or what? I am at 200 pop. He's not even joking, he's serious. It's 200 to 66 here. Okay. Oh. Oh, no, it's just being... Oh, I like that we get in chat with this replays here. Okay, GG. Brings the set to 1-1 here, not to 2. To 1-1. GG. Now, let me bring up the next rec here. Actually, we could look a bit at the stats first before I do that. Quick question. Yes, sir. Do you want to play hideout 3v3? Yeah, sure, I could do that. So looking at Django's eco here, he kept the eco lead the whole way, game around, can never let go of the pressure. Could have raided a little bit more, but he did alright there. That's a not insignificant amount of red gold for it though. Blue never contested the relics. Could have been one of the things that kept the game going for longer, for as long, but he takes the win in the end. So, for game 3, we have Piezod's home map, which is Necro Arena. So guys, game 3, it's Piezod here in the red, it's his home map, and he's playing Khmer on Necro Arena. So Necro Arena is pretty much standard arena, but based on map scripts from before DE, so the generations will be a bit different, so you might still see deer spawning outside like here. But otherwise than that, it seems somewhat balanced. Nice little back gold here for Django, but in exchange, Piezod has the back stone here. So resource spawns seem somewhat similar. Maybe a little bit more forward for the blue player here. Anyway, we have Necro Arena, and we have Humans for Django here, playing as Piezod as Khmer. So Humans with the extra feudal TC could get the eco boost going very early with an early uptime. Could be what he's thinking about here. But also they could just go for a standard fast castle, do a castle drop and harass with Kipchaks. And playing against Khmer, you could expect the Khmer player to go up very early. So but if they're going straight for the boom, of course that needs to be punished. So remains to be seen what kind of plans these guys have for this. So bringing the sheep here, we'll have a little bit of idle time maybe. No, we had the sheep lurking under the TC there, so it's fine. Villager counts the same for both players. So I wonder what combination we'll be seeing when we're going for. We could of course be seeing an Elephant Masterpiece here. Saying that Piezod idles his TC quite a bit while luring the boar here, and then it's a suboptimal boar lure here, also leaving the sheep to decay, so this is not ideal for fast castle approach here with decaying food like this. But he's force dropping a little bit and getting food income in here. So Khmer could go for elephants, or they could go for the scorpions push. They have fantastic scorpions in Imperial Age with the double crossbow, the unique tech that lets the heavy scorpions fire two shots. So Halbs and siege push could be an option against humans, who are mainly a cab sieve. But then again, humans get siege workshops and battering rams already from the feudal age, so we could even see some feudal age pressure from the human player here. Now let me just fast forward a little bit, because on Arena there's not really much action happening early on. Django actually almost with a 2-villager lead here, so he seems to have been having a lot less idle time at home here. Could be that Piezod is a bit stressed out after the previous game and is feeling under pressure that he really needs to win this game. But he brings in his deer, and actually on Django's side I believe the deer spawn on the inside, so that's a bit of an unfair generation. But Django going for the 20 pop up. I think he will be dropping the second TC right away. And it's certainly one way to contest with the Khmer boom here. So here's the second TC being added. 7 villagers building it. That's because it's building really slowly. You can see here from the percentage that it's going more slowly than usual. Career player now going up to feudal age at 25 pop. And from the looks of it, he should be able to go straight to castle age after dropping two villagers. He actually goes straight to castle age, so that's pretty impressive there. Just 25 pop straight past castle here from the Khmer. And playing against humans, he must suspect by now that the human guy is going for the feudal boom here. So that should be punished with this much earlier castle age here. It could go straight forward, try to break in with some rams, or at least find some way in and just make as much damage as possible. So castle age is in for Piezod here. He's adding stables and a monastery. He's going to contest the relics. That shouldn't be an issue. If he has some army to defend his monks, he should easily be able to pick up the relics here. But have a look at the feudal boom here though. Granted, Django is still in feudal age, but looking at the villager count, he has a massive lead here for now. But with the constant production, of course, his castle age is still a bit far away, but now he has the blacksmith market. He could use the market to adjust if he needs to rush the castle age. He's dropping a barracks now, wants to drop the stables as well a bit, so he could help contest the relics. And Piezod now dropping his second TC. He should be able to catch up in villager count once he adds his third TC as well, being in castle age. So Django is still producing from 2 TCs here. Pretty heavy on the gold. Humans with their feudal boom can build the eco quite early and then set up for a nice late castle age game with massive production from stables or whatnot, even castles and kipchaks. But Castle Age is being researched, and since it's not been under duress, the only thing he's missing out on is the fact that Piezod is likely to get all 5 relics here, having scouts on the field protecting the relics, and Django with no way of picking them up, being in feudal age himself. Snipes Django's only scout here as well, so no military for Django at the moment. Seems to be enjoying the human boomy life here. Actually idling his second TC now, but he re-includes villagers again. He's quite heavily on stone, so it could be for defensive castle purposes, or maybe he's planning a massive form once he gets to Castle. He's taking fletching right now. That suggests to me that he wants to do a castle, drop a castle, and get the kipchaks out. But their score's pretty similar now. What's that gonna be like once Django reaches Castle Age? Piezod catching up in the villager count since Django is partly idling here, but still a 11 villager lead for Django, and he hasn't been under pressure at home since that, so he's with the Rangers, he's dropping a castle right away, wants to get the kipchaks out on the field. It is too late to contest the relics though. Piezod already has 3 relics in the bank. He will be getting, no, it's only 2, but it will be more for sure. So dropping stable and range here, obviously for the kipchaks upgrades here. And Piezod actually forwarded the monk, harassing a little bit here. He has the range to actually try and convert one of the building villagers, but of course Django pulls away. He's now producing kipchaks, and Piezod is on 3 TCs. Django is still staying on 2, no, sorry, it's in 3 TCs as well. But looking at the villager counts here, Piezod has almost caught up. And he's also adding his 4th TC here, so this could be Piezod booming away and catching up with the human player right here. Kipchaks produce pretty quickly in the castle here. Wonder what the play is. He could go for the castle age capped ramps and break in and then raid with the kipchaks, but then there are TCs here protecting all of Piezod economy here, so that's easier said than done. And now let's look at the relic count against all 5 relics for Piezod. The only vulnerability here being that the monastery is pretty close to the walls here, and it easily turned from outside once they reach the Imperial Age. But Piezod has only invested in scouts and a few monks. He could actually use the kipchaks. Django could actually use the kipchaks here to try and deny this castle a bit, but he doesn't do that. He opts for a little bit of harassment on the TC here instead, and has to run away from the monks here. So let's get back to the villager counts here. Django still with the villager lead. Of course, with producing 23 TCs, he's maintaining that. But Django, Piezod now on 4. He is adding lots of the famous Khmer farms here. Doesn't really have to pay attention to how he's placing them. They will collect fruit. Oh, he actually deleted one. What they wanted them to be connected there apparently. Good space usage here, just to not have too many gaps between the farms when you don't need to. So when using the space inside his base effectively here. Now also adding houses close to the walls, so that it's going to be tougher for Django to break in if that's indeed his intention. He does have quite a few kipchaks now. Nice unit to take map control as well. But he's adding a siege workshop at home. And the University is in. Django now only with a 7 villager lead here. Will we be seeing more TCs added from either player here? Maybe Piezod is happy with his 4. Django sticks to 3 for now and focuses on army production instead. Look at these populations, they're pretty similar here. Military count virtually the same, but in Django with the slight villager lead is adding even another stable, so he wants to add to the armies here. Adding a castle right next to the original one. So he really wants to protect this gate area here. Humans don't get stone walls other than the initial ones in the arena, so of course he needs his defenses, but this could maybe be just to minimize villager walking time while building, I'm not sure. Both players going for Imp, they will be reaching Imp at near the same time here. Piezod researching stone mining, he wants to get another castle up, I bet. Maybe to take some map control, secure some resources. He has 2 forward-ish golds here and he needs to secure them before he runs out at home, but he still has quite a few golds left in his home base here. Now deleting his walls actually. Placing another castle right next to his original one here. Is he actually going for the ballista elephants here? Interesting. Maybe they could do okay against the Kipchaks. I've never seen that combination, so remains to be seen. But or is he going to cut through the trees to get in? That could also be a play. He could get cut right through here and just do a sneak attack from behind in Django's base. So second castle up for Piezod as well. He keeps adding ballista elephants. He has monks on the field. He's adding outposts. He wants to have full vision of the map once the action gets going here. It's Django reaching Imperial Age first, but that's just in a matter of seconds between them. But Piezod is the first one to add traps here. Django, however, sees that his opponent has deleted his walls and there is an potential easy way in for Django here, although there are 2 castles protecting here, but imagine trapping or ramming down these castles, then you have free access into your opponent's base. So Piezod now taking light cav and adding a few stables. Adding more traps as well, of course. I don't see any traps for Django for the moment, but he has a pretty huge amount of Kipchaks by now. He's getting conscription and doesn't seem to have the eco to sustain elite Kipchak just yet, but with this amount of units, of course you want to go for the elite upgrade as well. Another castle being added by Piezod. Very tightly together, these castles. I don't quite understand the reasoning behind that, other than that one castle protects the other, that could be a play against the very mobile Kipchaks here, but sure. So that's nearly, well, that's 33 Kipchaks and quite a few light cav on the field for Django. Django, massive score lead here, but this is also the ability playing in for him. He's able to snipe a wonker. I think Django needs to add more siege of his own as well. He's also adding another castle, wants to protect his gold here. But his forward will be restricted by these 3 Khmer castles here. And Piezod now going for the elite ballista elephant. I don't think that Django is expecting ballista elephants on the field here. But let's see how they will do there. Of course, should be very tanky against archer fire, so I can see why he's doing it. But it's going to be a surprise for sure. So, ballista elephants are out, 310 HP. Pretty decent armor here. Let's see what it looks like when they fire away here. Could be that double crossbow is already in for Piezod as well, because these guys are firing a lot. And look at look at this shooting through. Kipchaks don't have much HP, they only have 60 HP even as elite, so when the ballista elephants are chasing, ballista elephants will go down and Kipchaks will take a lot of damage here. At the same time, Piezod has Hussar Tech. I think he has the healthier eco overall as well, being on 40 TCs. Bringing in the ballista elephants now under castle fire, and if you can take out all of these massive Kipchaks, that's just so many resources down the drain for Django without doing much damage with them. So we'll lose a Treb here, keeping most of the ballista elephants alive. But Piezod loses a Treb of his own as well, and Django really needs to heal up a bit here for this Kipchak to survive. But so many ballista elephants on the field now, 19 ballista elephants, which will provide cover for the trebuchets. As a very expensive meat shield. Those guys are like 100 food and 80 gold or something. But seem to be doing decent here against the ranged units of his opponents, and they are firing scorpion-like projectiles. Don't really have that much attack, but certainly doing the job here. Some Hussars running in to tank some Kipchak arrow fire here as well, and Piezod is the one dictating the pace of this game with his slow defensive push here, and these traps already firing away at his opponent's side here. Opponents very close together on this spawn, I would say. It's not very far, it's like 16 tiles or 20 tiles between the walls here. But Django keeps adding Kipchak as well, and they produce rather quickly with conscription tech here. But as long as they keep firing on the very cheap Hussars here, it is very cost efficient for Piezod here. It's much, I think still with the amount of Kipchaks, it's a larger gold investment for Django than for Piezod here, but looks like it's Django floating the most resources at the moment. He is, after all, 150 villager boom. He still has only 3 TCs actually. But Django now adding siege here. It's going to be onagers for now. I think that could, since ballista elephants are considered siege, onagers could work here, but they are still slightly mobile, so while they can't really dodge onager fire, they can take damage if he gets a hit in. But look at Piezod's Hussars running in here and sniping the onagers. Lots of action going on here right now. But the ballista elephants, so many elite ballista elephants doing so much damage to the Kipchaks here. Look at all these Kipchaks they are pretty weakened here. Doesn't take many more hits for these to go down. And now also 6 trebs total for Piezod. Power play for Piezod here, taking out castles from Django here, and at the same time taking out so much of his army. It's 46 army for Piezod, still spamming the Hussars, now raiding Django's eco in any moment. If the castles go down, it's almost impossible for Django to defend, because he only gets palisade walls, so it's not like he can stone wall behind here. And the ballista elephants doing so much work here, taking out both light cav and elite Kipchaks here. And even more traps being added. It's 4 castles total for Piezod there. He's even supplying some ballista elephants in the mix here. And just listen to the constant attack sounds here. In every case, it's just so much spamming and units going on here. But another castle goes down for the human player. It's 12,000 score for Piezod, 9,000 for the Django here, and Django's walls are breached and he is forced to call the GG. Well played by both players, but in the end it's Piezod's game and he will be advancing to the next round. So you don't often see the ballista elephants in play, but they certainly were justified here against the Cape Jack. So GG. Reverse through the stats here again. KD 144 to 95 for the Khmer player here. Piezod takes the win. Ecos aren't that indifferent here. And I have to adjust the score here. That's 2-1 for Piezod. And then the uptimes. Alright then, let's move on to the next game. I'm going to switch screens for a little bit here. And we'll be moving to the Adept division this time around. So now we'll be having Accepted versus Zeus. Oh, I need to say that this is here we go. We have an Adept division game this time around. This is Accepted versus Zeus, and they are playing on Graveyards, which is always the first map. So Accepted picked the Lithuanians here. Strong pick for this map. Just look at all these relics laying around here. Should be so easy for the Lithuanians to get to the 4 relic bonus here. And Zeus in the purple here playing as Khmer. Khmer, of course, strong Civ, maybe even stronger on a bit more closed maps, arguably, with their potential siege pushes, but we'll see. So 2 pawns here, it looks like purple. Zeus here is closer to the pond if he wants to go fishing. This is his spot. Is much closer than Accepted, who is far off in the corner, has a long way to go to both pawns here. Thanks for the follow, by the way, Lail the Bard. I didn't see it until now, a while ago. Okay, so it looks like we have an 1300 player versus 1100-ish player here. That could be tough for Zeus being in the 1100 range up against the 1300, but let's see how they play out here. Accepted with the villager lead already. He's may have been luckier with his scouting, find his sheep earlier and in time. So, typical opening for Lithuanians on any open map would be to go for the scouts, and I think this is what Accepted might be setting up for as well. He does have 4 on wood, but that isn't necessarily an indication of it not being a scout build. You could be opting for going for the water as well once he scouts it. But he's going for a small wall of here. Actually, he's missing 2 of his sheep. Not a huge deal for Lithuanians. After all, they do start with a little bit more food. So look at the pathing here. He has to run all the way around the trees and stones to get his house up. So what's Zeus up to on his side is dropping his first lumber camp just now at 14 pop. That seems kind of late to go for wood at that point, but he will be needing less buildings as we're going up, so wood won't be as huge of an issue. He is housed, however, so he will need to place a panic house now, and is getting so much idle time right now because of being housed. There it is. We have to mention again that this tournament is played on fast speed, so it's everything happens faster. It's harder to pay attention to whether your population is closer to getting you housed or not. We see Loom is already in for Zeus as well. It's actually in the score lead here. That could be the Loom tech playing in, since his opponent does not have it. And now adding a few more houses. Really doesn't want to get housed here. Actually, a nice little bit of walling here from purple. Zeus here, he is... any units coming towards his berries, for example, they will have to run through the TC all the way around here to reach him. So it's a good preemptive measures there. Now we also have 30 population space, so he won't get housed for a while. Could be useful when playing in fast speed. Accepted is also starting his wall of here as Lithuanians. Could be that he will be opting in for the fast castle approach here and go straight for the knights and relics instead, because he has an easy wall of here. He could, looks like the stone is blocking this entrance, so he needs to could place 1 house here. Then that wood line is fantastically secure and walled, and is already walled this side. So once this section is walled, he's walled and safe and will not be subject to any early scouts or any other kind of early aggression. So Khmer player here going for gold already as well at 20 pop. Could he be going for some kind of an archer's build here? So Accepted now is on Zeus' side. I think he... Well, he has found some resources, so I think he must be suspecting now that his opponent is in this area, although he didn't find any buildings yet. Khmer player, much more earlier to village, but his eco setup, yeah, he's walling off completely. He's going for the safer approach as well. Accepted is in his base at the right moment. He will see now if Zeus is going for any military buildings and going forward with anything. Zeus, before he reaches village, he will see that his opponent is full walled. He tries to task his scout in, but he can't hit in, so that means that Zeus probably won't be going for scouts here, but rather a pretty quick castlage from Khmer. He's missing a lot of food. He would need to add more food eco here, but he's on the berries. He's taking the sheep. He's adding a few more villagers, and yeah. Also spots Accepted scouter, so they're both walling off, going for the safe approach here. Let's go back to Accepted's resources. See, he's also closing in on clicking up. He is on village. He's only missing the food to go to the next stage, and of course the buildings. So village now in for Accepted as well. He's up with 3 more population. Doesn't really place any building foundations yet to go up. He's just going builders. These guys will probably make a market. There we go. And there's the blacksmith. Blacksmith market up for the player in the blue here. So I would be surprised if he doesn't reach the cast stage first. But you never know. With Khmer, they don't need buildings to go up. So with some more food income for the Khmer player here as well, he will be right in the tails of Accepted in going up. But Accepted has more population, has had lots less idle time. These builders here are going for the wall off. Could be kind of a questionable wall here. I guess Zeus doesn't know that this side is secured, otherwise he could have just walled down the hill here and he would have had shorter walls and be better off overall. But Castlage is on the way for Accepted. He will be going for something here. Where are these guys going? Going for a lumber camp. So no military buildings for either player yet. And but Blue, with the technology lead, he will be in Castle Age significantly before the Khmer player, who will likely be clicking up after this villager is complete, because he's now very close to the 800 food he needs to get up. Keeps adding houses as well, doesn't want to get housed in a fast speed, and the stable is out. So it could be knights or elephants for Zeus once he reaches Castle Age here. So both players playing it pretty chill and defensive here. They're going now with a bit of house walling behind the palisades for Blue here. He still doesn't have a barracks, so he can't really go for any army forward just yet. This would be his time window to attack the Khmer player, in my opinion, but here's the monastery. He's going straight for the relics instead. So he wants to secure the relics bonus before he sends any army forward. But I'd say a bit more healthy eco for Accepted on his side than on Zeus. Zeus with, yeah, pretty much the same amount of farms, but Zeus will be lagging behind to the Castle Age. He is not in a position to add town centers right away, but he does have the food and gold to sustain a bit of Knights production. He's taking Bloodlines already, so he wants to challenge the Lithuanian player with Knights of his own, which is, I guess, okay until the Lithuanian players can snag the relics and get army going on his own. But Accepted playing this very boomy economy-wise here, only going for the relics with a monk unprotected here. He doesn't feel as threatened. Of course, he scouted his opponent early on. He knew there wasn't going to be any early aggression. But this kind of playing could and should be punished when you're only booming away like this and don't have any army buildings at all, honestly. So, but then again, Purple with his army, he should consider moving out as soon as possible. He's adding his second TC now. He doesn't have any openings in his walls for the knights to move out, but this could be a moment to harass his opponent a bit. But now the Lithuanian player is adding the barracks here, which means he will have pikes at the ready once any knights or other kind of mounted unit comes forward. So the monks are on the field picking the relics. That's already going to provide +1 attack for free for the knights, +2 and +3 with the next relic. And so Zeus, being clear here, playing against the Legends, should also be trying to pay a little bit of attention to the relics and challenge them, try to pick them up before his opponent, so his opponent can't get the relic advantage. But it is a military lead for Zeus here at the moment. He has 6 knights on the field, not doing anything at the moment. He's adding a monster as well, so now he wants to fight for the relics. But already 2 relics in the bank for Accepted. Once he gets 2 more relics in, he's going to be perfectly set up for some very powerful knights with extra +4 attack, and that leaves Zeus with the very much weaker option here. He has the military numbers for now, but to make use of the military advantage he has at this moment, really just I can see why he wants a huge army before he moves out, but sooner rather than later goes for the aggression, especially if you haven't experienced any aggression to your opponent. That could be a significant sign that he is more busy booming, and you should try to break in and raid while you can before the Lithuanian player can get to his plus. He doesn't have any defense here, but he has +3 from the relics already. Will be bringing in even more, so the gold income of Accepted here will just shoot through the roof once he gets the relics in. So I'm lacking some military engagements here. Zeus's economy is boosting as well. It's going a bit. He's investing a lot into army, but not really using it at the moment. We see some Khmer farms being added here. You could add them anywhere, and they would still just collect food right on the spot. But actually, a hole here for Accepted. And if Zeus has paid attention to this, he will know that there's a way in here now for his knights, so this is certainly a moment to move forward and try to do some damage. While Accepted's knights are chasing Purple Scout in this base here. He's adding more knights of his own, but there's 2 stables for Purple. Purple has seen the hole. I think he's sent the knights forward now. Yeah, he knows there's a hole. There's still a hole. So he could consider now just running right through the hole unless it gets quick walled, and then just do some damage. So some significant idle time for blue here right now. He had to deal with the scout in his base being a little bit harassing here, and this TC being so close to the woodland and everything else is causing the villagers to run around like ants here. But where is Purple's army? It's just moved slightly outside of his base, still not moving forward to make any damage here, and once again he is up against the Lithuanian knights, who now have +4 attack from relics. There are 5 relics in the monastery for Accepted already, which hasn't been challenged at all, and this could be very dangerous for Zeus once Accepted gets some more upgrades in as well. He's getting the first armor upgrade right now, attacking the mining camp here. Look at the damage he's already doing. I heard a monk noise here. There was a monk somewhere, but it got picked off, seems like. So this mining camp will probably go down. I'd like to see Accepted adding more than one stable now, because I think he can sustain production, unless he's going for the early imp, something he could do as well. He's floating so much resources now without really using them. And that's usually not a good sign. You want, when you're producing so much resources, so much wood, you just want to use it. Just place a few more TCs, place a castle, do anything, just spend the resources, get the army out. Blue is actually behind the army. He's backing off for not really any reason here. Of course, he's outnumbered, yes, but he has more attack in the mix. But castle is going up, and he can mix some lighties in as well. And with 4 relics, the lighties are incredibly powerful against all sorts of units, almost, except ranged units. So if lighties indeed come on the field, that then Khmer would have to opt for arbalest or crossbows in this case in Castle Age. So Zeus is moving up, is adding quite a few houses and don't want to be housed in the fast speed styles here. Is also collecting stone, so we will be seeing a defensive castle. It would be nice up on the hill here to secure some gold and or secure the stone here. It could also be an option. Still the military lead for purple here, but remember his knights have +1/+1, whereas blue's knights have now +5 and the same armor, and is even taking the second armor upgrade now. So Accepted is slowly beginning to use his resources, but he's floating a lot of wood here now. He could even be adding more farms now. He's going for more stone. He wants to get to the lighties. Understandably, it's a very strong unit. And the training unique unit which negates armor of any unit it plays against. So even against, especially against Teutons, for example, Teutonic Knights, lighties should just shred them. But also against Khmer, even if there are elephants on the field now for Zeus, if they come out at some point, the lighties should be able to take a decent fight with the 4 relics in the mix, I believe. I also find it peculiar that in the lower elo bracket, they don't make use of the ponds. I mean, imagine if Accepted had gone fishing here with Lithuanians and boosting his food eco to just spew out knights from 3 or 4 stables. It would be a game changer. It's, Accepted is actually in a position to click imp now. He could do that. Looks like he's idling and wants to maybe click imp here. Did he queue it somewhere? No, he didn't. And now placing a forward castle on Zeus's gold. It barely reaches the gold here though, so a few times more forward would have maybe been preferable here. But Zeus is also picking relics. The scores are incredibly close here, considering there's 200 elos separating these two players. But there it is, Imperial Age coming in for Accepted. The villager counts. Zeus has the villager lead. Maybe could be expected as Khmer. They do get easier to the Castle Age, but he was, after all, the latest one to the Castle Age, so good job from the Khmer player than being the first one up. I feel like Blue is very much on the passive side here though. He could have ended this a lot earlier if he had just run in with his knights he had or had a bit more production, but look at this +6 now for the Blue player. Both armor upgrades in and the +6 attack. And Imperial Age will be kicking in, so once, unless he chooses to deny this castle, if he at all sees it going up, he actually doesn't see it going up. So we couldn't deny this. Now I believe he tries to run in, sees the castle going up. That's no issue really, because he will be the first to Imperial Age. Should be no problem trampling down this castle deal, and now it could even be denied by lighties and knights running in here. Nope, castle will go up. But no murder holds for purple here. Not the tech you usually prioritize, so the knights and lighties can freely fire away at this castle, while blue is adding more lightises. He has the military lead. He will likely be adding frags once he hits the castle edge, and purple wants to pick a fight here, fighting under his own castle fire, but also under enemy castle fire here, and his knights are just so much weaker, and the light is in the mix as well, and this is a fight he honestly shouldn't be taking. He should be considering a tech switch at this point, maybe get some halberdiers out or ranged units to deal with the lightis. Even the heavy scorpion could be considered if he can get to it, but he's kind of cramped his own corner now and fighting against the Lithuanian player, going only 2 TCs from what I can see, and but still having a significant army production here. And queuing Trebs in his castle. He will be traveling from the hill, so it should be easy for him to take out this opponent's castle here. He's also taking the gold next to his castle here, safe and sound. Still floating very much resources on the accepted side. You should consider spending this. You could add more PCs, you could add more castle, you could add extreme amounts of farms with this eco, but he's not really spending his resources as he should. He could even sell wood to afford more gold for more army production here, but then Treb is out. He is adding another Treb. He wants to Treb down, and Zeus runs in to snipe the Treb with his knights, but once Blue realizes he will take the fight and he will win easily here, both under castle fire and with his own +6 armed units here, and Kemur player will be losing all of his military here surely. He gets a little bit ready, gets some gold villagers here, but still a bad fight for the Kemur player with only the +2 fighting against +6 knights now. Also about to get the last armor upgrade here, and Accepted, added more Trebs, adding two more Trebs. This castle will go down, he will run in and finish it all with the army he already has. So, there's the castle down. Now, running in with the army, deal with the Treb on this side maybe, but just easier approach would just be to run into the eco and demolish everything, just finish it off. He's switched into the siege here. I think that's not the worst move. If he can get to the critical mass of Heavy Scorpions, he does stand a chance here. I think he's already teching Heavy Scorpion as well. So I like this, but he still needs to master units. He does have a eco kind of set up for it. If he can get to Elephants and Scorpions, this could be a change in the game for Purple here, but he's not really using his army efficiently. He could go with the Knights, seeing as Blue's army is forward, he could choose to go for the Knights to run forward for some raids instead, and to he should not challenge Blue's army at the spot here on the hill, because Blue has the relic bonus of Lithuanians. He will easily kill off without significant losses here. If you look at the KD now, it is 42 to 15 for Accepted, and the GG is called. The switch doesn't happen in time for Purple here. He has the Heavy Scorpions. He could have gone for Elephants alongside them as well, but it is Accepted's game, and Accepted, after all, is almost 200 elo above Zeus at this point, so tough matchup for Zeus in this one. Brings the score to 1-0, means we will be moving on to Zeus's home map. Let's just take a quick look at the stats first. So, military eco lead, even with only 2 TCs for, yeah, still only 2 TCs for Blue, he managed to amass a lot of army and sustain his forward, and it was enough as Lithuanians on this map to secure the win. KD 46 to 15, largest army, very significant here, also much stronger considering he could take the relics pretty freely here. And also the eco lead, pretty surprising considering that Accepted was only on 2 TCs, but he didn't have the villager high, but relic gold plays in here as well, and look at the relic total is 11 relics collected by both players if you add it up. And the aging app as well. Accepted walled off, was able to do the fast castle unattacked in his home base. Zeus did have some knights out early enough to break in and do some damage, I believe, but he didn't grasp that window of opportunity, and in the end he loses the game when he falls behind in army numbers. So we're moving on to game 2 here. It will be Zeus's home map. And Zeus has picked Necro Arena as his own map. So let's go, guys. The map is Necro Arena. It's like Arena, but with the Necropolis team, as you can see, with some ruins here and there. Sheep. It's based on old map script from before DE, so we have resources could spawn outside. The deer seem to be inside for both players, do they? Where are those? Yep, the deer has spawned inside for both players here. It's just so close to the wall, it's hard to spot here. But it's accepted. He's playing as Turks. Takes an early villager lead here. Could be that Zeus had some issues finding his sheep from the beginning on. He is in danger of being lamed with 4 sheep forward here, but he is fine. He finds 2 of them. He should be finding the next ones very soon as well. There we go. Finds all his sheep in due time here. Whereas accepted, he hasn't gone outside yet, but he should be discovering his own sheep very soon as well here. Takes the wrong path here though, so if Zeus is on the move here, he could snipe these sheep, but chooses to stay at home and in his home base instead. And accepted also finds his remaining sheep here, and at this point I think we'll just be fast forwarding a bit to get to the extraction. So we have Teutons for blue gear, and strong defensive sim for Arena, of course. Their boom is awesome with the farm bonus, the farms are being cheaper, but then he's up against Turks. Likely to go fast Imperial on a closed map like Arena, and then he can get bombard cannons and hand cannoneers out very at the moment he reaches Imp, because they get chemistry for free. So that's a potential strong push for Turks with an early Imperative on a map like this. So Accept is still looking for the last 2 sheep, but he will finally find them in the back here. And villager count's pretty even for both players. You on Arena you can play undisturbed, of course, until at least the Castle Age, usually. And Zeus will be the one reaching Field Age first. Accept is going for 26 pop. So then means I think he won't be going fast Imperial from this, for he could be doing a 28 pop fast castle here and then maybe a castle drop into Janissaries or something. So it's a market blacksmith for Accepted here. He is floating the food and gold to click up pretty soon here. He's missing a little bit of food. Maybe he's delaying it after all to go for the 30 pop castle age. Okay, so it might be a fast imp after all here. So a bit of scouts fighting going on here. I heard some walls being deleted. That was here. So Zeus going for a regular fast castle approach with the 28 wilds here. He will be reaching the castle age first. Should be easy in contesting some relics then, because you don't want to let the Turks have the relics easily, but looking at the relic spawns here, they're almost kind of unfair here, but because they're also close to, well, at least 2 of them are very close to Accepted here, and it's such a small distance between players, so it should be easy to secure the relics here. But Castle Age is in for Accepted. He has 13 farms by now, he has 3 on gold. So if it won't be a straight fast imp, it will still be a pretty fast imp, all things considered. If that's what he's going for. Could of course still be a regular fast castle boom. He's adding a second TC now, so maybe he's actually going for the boom approach here. scouts on the field. There are, yeah, both players are just going for the 2 TCs dropped for Zeus on this side here. He's slightly behind the score, slightly behind the villagers, but accepted only with the 2 TCs for now, but adding a barracks. Could be looking to add some scouts as well for the map control and getting the relics done. Really shouts dead even for both players, but Zeus sustaining production from 3 TCs here now, and also adding the monks. He wants to contest the relics as he should do. Accepted now with 2 TCs also producing, but Zeus being on 3 TCs is having the villager lead and should be keeping this forward. So advantage being Turks here, light cavalry takes in for free, and there's only scout for Teutons, but in this here Teutons get extra armor on the melee units, and Monk is now out to collect relics from Blueberry. It looks like he's going for the farthest one first here, is going in this direction. And Zeus' scout now chasing the nice snipe from Accepted. They're getting the monk. So good value from Accepted's initial scout there, being a light cavalry. Yeah, it gets the monks even quicker here. It's 2 TCs for Accepted for now. He did that the last game as well. He seems to be liking his 2 TC play. That's not the most common thing. You usually see 1 TC or 3 TCs or even more. So not much going on right now. It's Zeus with a significant villager lead here, 55 to 45 villagers. But what's Accepted planning here? He isn't really adding out an army, and doesn't have a 1-3. He is stacking up on gold, so he could still be going for a pretty early imp here. But it's also going heavily on stone here, so maybe it's a cast drop in the making here. I'm curious to see how this game plays out. Zeus is allowed to pick the relics for free here, something that the Turks really shouldn't allow to happen. Just add a few light cab and challenge the monks on the field. You have the light cab upgrade for free. Of course, you are fighting against Teuton scouts, but Teutons, after all, only get scout cavalry. So if you get some light cavalry and Turk light cavalry and maybe some upgrades, it should be easy to defend the relics and not allow your opponent to take them like this. But Accepted has other plans in mind. He is placing a castle at home first. So defensive castle here wants to be in the defensive side again. And Zeus with more of a forward-ish castle, but still in his home base. Will we be seeing some Teutonic Knights in this game, maybe? Could be. So these villagers here are very much vulnerable to any attack out on the field once Accept to get some army out. So in that case, I would maybe consider having the castle in a more of a defensive side on this side, protecting both the golds and the stones. But of course it's fine to have it inside your home base as well. And for now also outside line of sight for your enemy. So Zeus really doesn't want to get his let his opponent get in easily here with a castle drop and petard push or whatnot. He's house walling along the edges, and May have been suspecting castle drops to happen, even though we haven't seen it now, as they will be added for accepted here. It is. He may have been seeing some relics being picked up here. He has the vision of the field, yeah, so he knows there are 2 relics left. He could still consider challenging those, or he could be going for the imp here, because now it's getting close. He has the castle, he doesn't need any more buildings to get up. So floating lots of resources here. It's minute 26, he could click imp as he wanted it, and that's what he's doing. So what does it look like on Zeus' side is not in any position to go to imp yet. So once the Turk player gets to imp, with his earlier imp, he could get some siege warships out and use bombard cannons to push down this castle, and with maybe light cab and hand cannoneers, or even janissaries to support here. So Zeus now securing his 4th, no 5th relic. He's going to secure all of the relics here. Uncontested by the Turk's player. It's just kind of peculiar, but Turk adding another castle here. So I think he wants to go for the janissaries here, or even get the early Terps out. Zeus floating lots of resources. He is not that far away from clicking him, but he will be significantly behind here, all things considered. And Accepted's eco can certainly sustain a trap or 2 once he reaches imp here. It's a very, very patient castle building with only 2 villagers. He's not feeling threatened here, that's for sure. But it has to be said, it's quite uncommon to see an arena game where one player just gets to pick all of the relics completely uncontested. Especially against Turks, who are very dependent on the gold to get going. So Turk's player add a university here. I hope he doesn't think he needs to research chemistry. It's probably for fortified wall and other attacks here, but you never know. But Imperial Age kicks in. Will he be adding bombard cannons or janissaries? He's adding janissaries now. And no trebs for the time being. Teutonic Knights are on the field for Zeus here. They are, however, pretty slow, so I'm not sure how much they will contribute in the fights here. But these 2 castles producing Teutonic Knights, I believe they will also die easily to janissaries, because their ranged armor or pierce armor isn't all that much. And there's already a significant amount of janissaries on the field for Accepted. He has hussars for free as well. He could add more. Something that he's doing. So I see both players really lacking production buildings here. Of course, Zeus is going for a unique unit. He's using castles, he's taking Imperial Age, and Accepted isn't really using his tech advantage window here. He wants to get more units out on the field before descending. He gets conscription now to get units out faster, but I think the Janissaries will still do very good against the Teutonic Knights here. They can hit and run. Bombard cannon in the making. So Janissaries, bombard cannons, hard to push back, especially with the slow civ like the Teutons. Let's see how this match works out for Zeus and Accepted here. Teutonic Knights are slow, but if they get in close, of course. The Janissaries need to hit and run here, but there's castle fire as well. Nice protected castle here. Teutonic Knights need to back off. There's quite a few Teutonic Knights here, also with a few upgrades, but not all of them. Monk on the field, just fire them down, that shouldn't be an issue. Gets 1 conversion, but I think Accepted deleted it just in time. Now, will he... Where is... I saw him adding a bombard cannon somewhere. Yep, there are the bombard cannons, and he could now contest the castles. Another defensive castle being added by Zeus here. His Imperial Age, his Adverts is removing his walls here. For reasons I don't quite understand. Does he want to let his opponent in here? Is it an elaborate trap in the making here, or what's going on. Just see the Teutonic Knights going on there. I think the Janissaries will even do good against the Trebs here. Blue adding some Trebs with bombard cannons on the field, being well protected by Hussars and Janissaries here. And the Teutonic Knights, they just won't be able to get close here as the Janissaries numbers are increasing here, and Accepted has the ecos to support production. They're both floating lots of resources again, not really spending enough. So with more production units, let's say barracks, stables, siege would be an option here for Zeus. He's floating quite a lot of resources. He could add some siege workshops, get some onager tech in, and then just take these Janissaries out of the game. But I think Blue successfully cleaned out some bomber cannons here. And Turks player need to replenish here, but he should have the eco to support further production, and he's stacking up in Janissaries, Hussars as well. Why doesn't he just run in here? It's actually open. He could just spam Hussars in here now and make life difficult for his opponent. Surely he must know it's open by now. So get some upgrades in on the Hussars and then just the raids in. I like that Blue is adding more military buildings here. He could be opting for some Knights here. Knights also get melee damage, and the Hussars run in and will never ever be caught up with Teutonic Knights here. The Town Bell is right, maybe not the worst option here since you want to save as many villagers as possible, but I think deleting the walls from Zeus was a huge mistake here, allowing Hussars to run in. Turks get 3 Hussars after all. They aren't fully upgraded, but they are still Hussars and now idling. Lose eco completely. Look at the idles number, says 76 idles, and the only villagers working are outside on the farms here. Bomber cannon firing away at the castle. I'm curious as to why Accepted doesn't want to add more production here still. He is going for kind of a slow push. With some more bomber cannons, he should easily take out these production of the Turks. Get siege run too, so that could be an option to take into. He can certainly afford it. He's floating lots of resources that he is not spending at this moment. This castle will go down. Could be that Blue is out of stone to repair. No, it's not. It's just bailing on the castle that was doomed to go down. Janissaries will get more hits in here, and they even almost one-shot the Teutonic Cavaliers here. I can see how Zeus wants to go for some mobility here, but the Cavalier will still die to this massive amount of Janissaries. So I think the Teutonic Knights actually caught up with the Hussars in Zeus's base here, but look at how they just melt to Janissary fire here. So this is still looking like Accepted game. He has nearly the same village count, but massive military lead here, so his population is obviously higher. Zeus sticks with his Cavaliers, but if he's going to make any use of them, he needs to get inside and raid, I think. And that's not an easy task on the arena, especially with 2 castles in front covering things here. So they're dying to both castle and Janissary fire here, and Zeus is just mainly just wasting gold now trying to take out Janissaries here, but Accepted still adding elite Janissaries from 2 castles. He has conscription, so they create even quicker here. Losing so much army, even curing more Cavaliers still, but I think Zeus may need to consider going for skirm defense instead, or even Onager, siege Onager if he could afford it, but his eco looks in shambles. Another castle will go down, and we should be looking at the GG very shortly here, I think. Another castle goes down, there's no defenses left on Zeus's forward here. Hussars can run in, roam freely, really bombard cannons, can take out buildings. Cavalier come again, they can of course deal with bomber cannons here, but with Janissaries defending, it's not easy for them to get close before they get shot down. Also the Hussars acting like a fantastic meat shield here, allowing Janissaries to fire at the Cavalier while the Hussars attack and delay the Cavaliers here. So the Cavaliers aren't allowed to get close to the bomber cannons here, and Zeus's eco is in shambles. He's out of gold. The only thing bringing him gold at the moment are the relics, I believe. He's using the market to adjust a little bit here, Still wants to go with more Cavaliers, but it doesn't help, and this Turk Death Ball here is just not possible to push back. And the GG is called. Accepted will be the one moving on to the next round. So looking at the stats here, Turk not going for the fast imp after all, but being earlier to imp and getting the eco running ends up with almost double the score. Even with less villagers and no relics, he managed to push away in time. Uptime's not too dissimilar here, Imperial Age just a bit earlier for the Turks player. And yeah, more food and wood collected for Red, and he was also untouched in his base at home, obviously. KD 160 to 60, that says something about unit management for Zeus. He did the Teutonic Knights, but that's easily pushed back by Turks, unfortunately, with the Janissaries already in production. So Zeus could have gone into a tech switch at some point if he had gone into Onager or even Siege Onager, for example. He could have dealt with the could have potentially dealt with the Janissaries, but then again there were bombard cannons on the field that could snipe Onagers. That's not sure either. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I want to end this cast now, and later today uh, there will be H&U will be casting his H&U Cup, so I don't want my stream to interfere with that. I think he will be starting in like 1 hour and a half or something like that. So thank you so much for watching. I will be casting more as the days go along. I'll announce in the tournament Discord when I'm casting, so just be on the lookout. And thank you so much for the follows as well.